Here's something that might shock folks. That morning coffee ritual could be doing more harm than good. Not all coffee is created equal, especially when talking about hearts and blood sugar levels after 60. Let's talk about what's really happening in those coffee cups. Welcome back to Health Bloom, where real health conversations happen without all the confusing medical jargon. Today's episode is one that coffee lovers need to hear. Before anyone panics and dumps their coffee maker, let's be clear, coffee itself isn't the villain here. Actually, plain black coffee has some incredible health benefits. The problem is what's being added to it and how it's being prepared. Studies show that nearly 3/4 of folks over 55 drink at least 1 cup daily. That's a whole lot of coffee right there. Here's the thing. After 60, bodies process caffeine about 33% slower than younger adults. That changes everything about how coffee affects health. This isn't just some small difference, it's a major shift in how the body handles that morning cup. If this information sounds valuable, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Drop a like if this topic resonates. Stick around because what's coming might completely change morning routines. Let's dive into the 4 types of coffee drinks that could be silently affecting heart health.
The sugar-loaded specialty drinks. Walk into any coffee shop these days and the menu reads like a dessert list. Caramel macchiatos, vanilla lattes, mocha frappuccinos. They sound delicious, and honestly, they taste amazing. But here's what most people don't realize about these drinks. These drinks are basically liquid candy disguised as coffee. One grande-flavored latte can pack anywhere from 20 to 50 grams of added sugar. To put that in perspective, the American Heart Association recommends no more than 25 grams daily for women and 36 grams for men. One drink and the daily limit is already blown. Now, why does this matter so much after 60? Research shows that excessive sugar consumption significantly raises the risk of cardiovascular disease. It's not just a minor concern. Sugar increases blood pressure, promotes inflammation throughout the body, and causes fat to accumulate in the liver. All of these factors contribute directly to heart problems. For folks with type 2 diabetes or those at risk, the situation gets even more serious than that. Here's something fascinating from recent studies. People with diabetes who regularly consumed sugar-sweetened beverages showed an 8% increase in mortality risk with each daily serving. 8%! That's not a small number when health is on the line. These sugary drinks cause blood sugar to spike dramatically, which over time leads to insulin resistance getting worse. The body starts struggling even more to regulate blood sugar levels naturally. This creates a vicious cycle that's hard to break once it starts rolling. The worst part is that these drinks don't even satisfy hunger. They're empty calories that leave folks feeling hungry again within an hour. Then comes the energy crash, leading to more cravings for sugar. It's a metabolic nightmare wrapped in whipped cream.
The commercial creamer catastrophe. Those little bottles of flavored creamer sitting in the refrigerator might seem harmless. French vanilla, hazelnut, Irish cream, they make coffee taste like a treat. But reading the ingredients list tells a completely different story about what's inside. Most commercial creamers are heavily processed concoctions filled with ingredients that sound more like a chemistry experiment than food. Partially hydrogenated oils, artificial flavors, high fructose corn syrup, and various stabilizers and emulsifiers fill those bottles. Let's break down why these ingredients spell trouble. Partially hydrogenated oils contain trans fats, some of the most dangerous fats for cardiovascular health. They raise LDL cholesterol while simultaneously lowering HDL cholesterol. This is a double whammy for the heart.
This double effect significantly increases the risk of heart disease and stroke. Many manufacturers have reduced trans fats in recent years, but they're still present in various forms. The labels can be tricky because small amounts don't have to be listed. Then there's the saturated fat content. Most dairy-based creamers pack about 1 to 2 grams of saturated fat per tablespoon. Using 2 tablespoons in each of 3 cups daily, that's adding up to 12 grams, nearly the entire daily recommended limit here. Saturated fat in excess amounts contributes to cholesterol buildup in arteries, which restricts blood flow to the heart. For older adults, this becomes particularly concerning because arterial flexibility naturally decreases with age anyway. It's adding fuel to the fire.
The sugar content in flavored creamers deserves its own conversation. Around 5 to 10 grams per tablespoon means that adding 2 tablespoons to morning coffee is like stirring in 2 to 4 teaspoons of pure sugar right into that cup. Do this multiple times a day, and blood sugar is on a roller coaster ride that the body, especially after 60, simply can't handle efficiently. The pancreas works overtime, insulin levels spike, and the whole metabolic system gets thrown out of balance daily. The instant coffee concerns. Instant coffee seems like the convenient, no-fuss option. Just add hot water, stir, and done. For folks on the go or those who don't want to deal with brewing equipment, it makes perfect sense. But convenience sometimes comes with hidden costs nobody mentions. Recent research has uncovered some concerning connections between instant coffee consumption and health risks for older adults. A study involving over 500,000 participants found that while ground coffee drinkers showed benefits, instant coffee drinkers saw fewer benefits. Ground coffee drinkers showed a 27% reduced risk of early death, but instant coffee drinkers only had an 11% reduction. That's a significant difference. For cardiovascular disease specifically, the gap was even wider between the two types. Ground coffee offered up to a 20% risk reduction, while instant coffee maxed out at only 9%. What's causing this gap? The processing methods used to create instant coffee expose the beans to extremely high temperatures and pressures daily. This process alters the chemical composition, reducing beneficial compounds like chlorogenic acids, powerful antioxidants that protect against heart disease and help regulate blood sugar. Instant coffee contains roughly half the amount of these protective compounds compared to brewed. Another concern that's emerged from recent studies, instant coffee consumption has been linked to an increased risk of age-related macular degeneration, particularly in people with certain genetic predispositions. This eye condition causes vision loss for millions. The exact mechanism isn't fully understood yet, but the correlation is strong enough that researchers are calling for more investigation into highly processed coffee products. It's one of those areas where science is still catching up to what the data shows. The unfiltered coffee problem. French press coffee, Turkish coffee, espresso. These unfiltered brewing methods produce a rich, full-bodied cup that coffee enthusiasts absolutely love. The oils and fine particles that would normally be caught by a paper filter remain in the cup completely. This creates that distinctive texture and intense flavor. But those same oils contain compounds called diterpenes, specifically cafestol and cafweol. Here's where things get medically relevant. Multiple studies have demonstrated that cafestol is potent for raising cholesterol. Cafestol is one of the most potent cholesterol-raising compounds found in the human diet.
When consumed regularly through unfiltered coffee, it can raise LDL cholesterol levels by 10% or more. For someone already managing high cholesterol, this is bad news. The mechanism is fascinating from a biological standpoint. Cathistol interferes with the body's natural cholesterol regulation system in the intestines, preventing proper elimination of cholesterol. The compound essentially tells the body to produce and retain more cholesterol. Now, occasional cups of French press or espresso won't cause major issues. The problem arises with daily consumption, which is common among people who prefer these brewing methods. Research shows that drinking 5 cups of French press daily increases LDL significantly. Specifically, it can increase LDL cholesterol by 6 to 8% within just 4 weeks. For older adults who may already have elevated cholesterol from natural aging processes, this additional burden on the cardiovascular system isn't trivial at all. Filtered coffee, on the other hand, removes virtually all of these diterpenes. The paper filter catches the oils before they reach the cup, leaving behind the beneficial compounds while eliminating the cholesterol-raising agents. It's a simple but effective solution. This is why cardiologists and nutritionists often recommend filtered coffee for people concerned about heart health. It's not about giving up coffee, it's about preparing it in a way that supports health rather than undermining it over the long term.
Understanding the heart-blood sugar connection. The relationship between coffee, heart health, and blood sugar becomes more complex after 60. Bodies change dramatically during the aging process. Metabolism slows down significantly. Caffeine takes longer to clear from the system completely. The cardiovascular system becomes less resilient. Blood vessels naturally lose elasticity, making them more susceptible to damage from blood sugar spikes and inflammation. Here's what happens on a physiological level when blood sugar spikes from sugary coffee drinks. When blood sugar spikes, the body releases insulin to bring levels back down. But with age and repeated sugar exposure, cells become less responsive to insulin. This is called insulin resistance. The pancreas has to work harder, producing more insulin to achieve the same effect. Over time, this leads to chronically elevated insulin levels, which promotes inflammation throughout the body, damages blood vessel walls, and increases fat storage around organs. This process doesn't just affect blood sugar, it directly impacts heart health in multiple ways. Inflammation in blood vessel walls contributes to atherosclerosis, where plaque builds up inside arteries. Higher insulin levels promote sodium retention, raising blood pressure. The combination creates a perfect storm for cardiovascular problems that compounds over time. Research specifically examining older adults with type 2 diabetes found that those who consumed regular amounts of plain coffee showed better cardiovascular outcomes than those who avoided coffee entirely. But here's the crucial part that changes everything. Those benefits disappeared when the coffee was loaded with sugar, cream, or consumed in forms with additives. The coffee itself provided protective effects through its antioxidants, but the additions negated those benefits. It's all about what goes into that cup.
What about decaf? Many folks switch to decaffeinated coffee thinking it's automatically healthier, especially in the evening hours. While removing caffeine does eliminate issues like sleep disruption and anxiety for sensitive individuals, decaf isn't necessarily a free pass here. The decaffeination process itself can affect the coffee's nutritional profile. Some methods use chemical solvents, though trace amounts remaining in the final product are considered safe. More concerning is that decaf often has slightly lower levels of beneficial compounds.
That said, decaf still provides plenty of antioxidants and has been linked to many of the same health benefits as regular coffee, including reduced diabetes and liver disease risk. The key point is that decaf isn't a magic solution if it's still being loaded. Decaf isn't magical if it's loaded with sugar and cream. Black decaf is fine. Decaf with 4 pumps of vanilla syrup and whipped cream is just as problematic as its caffeinated counterpart. The caffeine isn't the main issue here, it's all the other stuff. Another consideration is that some people assume decaf means unlimited amounts without consequences. But even decaf contains small amounts of caffeine, typically 5 to 15 milligrams per cup compared to 95 in regular coffee daily. For extremely caffeine-sensitive individuals or those taking certain medications, this can still add up over multiple cups. It's not zero caffeine, it's reduced caffeine. That's an important distinction that people often miss when they're counting their daily intake.
The right way to enjoy coffee after 60. The good news? Coffee doesn't have to be eliminated. In fact, doing so might mean missing out on legitimate health benefits. Studies consistently show that moderate coffee consumption, about 2 to 4 cups daily of properly prepared coffee, is beneficial. This moderate consumption is associated with reduced risk of heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes, and even certain cancers. The secret is in the preparation and additions. Black coffee, either brewed through a paper filter or made with a drip maker, is the standard. It retains maximum beneficial compounds while eliminating the cholesterol-raising ditterteens. For folks who absolutely cannot drink black coffee, there are healthier alternatives to commercial creamers and sugar. A splash of regular milk or unsweetened almond milk works. These alternatives add creaminess without the processed ingredients. Coconut milk from a can, not the sweetened carton varieties, provides healthy fats and a rich texture. For sweetness, a tiny bit of real vanilla extract or a pinch of cinnamon adds flavor. If sweetness is non-negotiable, a small amount of stevia or monk fruit sweetener affects blood sugar minimally compared to sugar or artificial sweeteners. The key word is small. Half a teaspoon should be enough. Taste buds adapt over time to less sweet coffee. Many people find they eventually prefer less sweet coffee. Timing matters too. Drinking coffee on an empty stomach can cause blood sugar to drop, leading to jitters and increased hunger later. Having it with or after a meal helps stabilize everything. This is particularly important for anyone managing diabetes or prediabetes. The food in the stomach slows caffeine absorption and prevents those dramatic blood sugar swings that can leave folks feeling shaky and irritable for hours afterward.
Making the transition. Changing coffee habits feels daunting, especially when a particular routine has been in place for years or decades. The approach that works best is gradual modification rather than cold turkey elimination. Start by reducing the amount of creamer or sugar by half daily. Use 2 tablespoons instead of 4. After a week or two, reduce it again. The goal is letting taste buds slowly adjust rather than shocking the system. Another effective strategy is the substitution method. Replace one of those sugary specialty drinks per week. Replace 1 sugary drink with a plain coffee. The next week, replace 2. Eventually, the preference shifts naturally. Many people report that after a few weeks of less sugar, going back to their old drinks makes them taste overwhelmingly sweet and almost unpleasant. For folks attached to their French press, consider alternating between filtered and unfiltered methods. Enjoy that rich French press coffee a few times per week as a treat, but use filtered coffee for daily cups. This provides the best of both worlds here. This balance allows enjoying preferred flavors while minimizing the cholesterol impact. If instant coffee is a staple due to convenience, gradually transition to quick brew methods like single-serve pod systems or pour-over setups. These only take a few minutes daily. These methods provide the beneficial compounds that instant coffee lacks. For offices or situations where instant is the only option, at least avoid adding sugar and chemical creamers to it. That small change alone makes a significant difference in health impact.
The bigger picture. Coffee represents just one piece of the overall health puzzle, but it's a significant piece given how regularly most people consume it. Small daily choices compound over time, either supporting health or undermining it slowly but surely. This is especially true after 60, when the body's ability to recover from poor choices diminishes. The cardiovascular system, blood sugar regulation, and overall metabolic health are interconnected in complex ways. What affects one affects the others directly. Drinking multiple sugary coffees daily doesn't just impact blood sugar in isolation. It creates systemic inflammation, disrupts hormonal balance, affects sleep quality, and burdens the heart with unnecessary stress. Conversely, choosing properly prepared coffee supports health. Properly prepared coffee with minimal additions supports antioxidant intake, potentially reduces inflammation, and according to research, may even extend lifespan. The decades-long studies following hundreds of thousands of people consistently show coffee benefits. Coffee drinkers who consume moderate amounts of black or lightly modified coffee live longer and have lower rates of chronic disease. It's worth emphasizing that no single food or drink determines health outcomes. Coffee is part of an overall lifestyle picture. That lifestyle includes nutrition, physical activity, stress management, and sleep quality. But given that many folks drink coffee daily and multiple times per day, optimizing this one habit can have outsized effects on long-term health over the years.
Special considerations. Some individuals need to be more cautious with coffee regardless of how it's prepared. People with certain heart conditions, particularly arrhythmias, may find that even moderate caffeine triggers symptoms. Those with severe anxiety need caution too. Those with severe anxiety disorders sometimes need to avoid caffeine entirely. Individuals taking certain medications should check with pharmacists about potential interactions. Thyroid medications, for instance, should not be taken with coffee at all. Coffee reduces thyroid medication absorption by up to 55%. Some antidepressants and blood pressure medications can also interact with caffeine in ways that amplify or diminish their effects. It's worth having that conversation with a pharmacist. For folks with gastroesophageal reflux disease or ulcers, coffee's acidity can aggravate symptoms regardless of what's added to it. In these cases, low-acid coffee varieties exist and can be better tolerated. They're specially processed to reduce acidity. Pregnancy and breastfeeding require limiting caffeine to around 200 milligrams daily, which is about 2 cups of regular coffee. Since caffeine crosses the placenta and enters breast milk, keeping consumption moderate protects both mother and baby here. The bottom line is that individual health status matters. These recommendations serve as general guidelines, but personal circumstances sometimes require modifications. When in doubt, having a conversation with a healthcare provider about coffee consumption makes sense. This is especially important for anyone managing multiple health conditions or taking several medications. Healthcare providers can offer personalized guidance based on complete medical history and current health status. It's always better to ask than to guess wrong. So there it is, the complete picture on coffee and health after 60.
The 4 coffee types to be cautious about are those loaded with sugar and syrups, those filled with commercial creamers and their processed ingredients, instant coffee that's heavily processed. Also, watch out for unfiltered coffee that can raise cholesterol. None of this means giving up coffee entirely. It means being smarter about choices and understanding how different preparation methods and additions affect the body differently as it ages over time. Remember, the goal isn't perfection, it's making better choices more often than not. Maybe that means having a French press coffee on Sunday mornings as a treat, but switching to filtered coffee during the week, or enjoying a specialty drink occasionally. Make black coffee or coffee with just a splash of milk the daily norm. These small shifts add up to significant health benefits over time. If this information has been helpful, hit that like button and subscribe to Health Bloom for more conversations. Subscribe for more honest, practical health conversations. Drop a comment sharing favorite coffee habits or questions about anything discussed today. Have friends or family who could benefit from this information? Share this episode with them right now. Coffee is such a universal ritual that chances are everyone knows someone who could use these insights. Next time, more health topics that actually matter for living well in the golden years will be covered. Until then, enjoy that coffee well. Just make it the right kind of coffee. Here's to health, vitality, and really good cups of joe. Thanks for listening to Health Bloom. Take care of those hearts and keep those blood sugar levels stable. See you in the next episode.